what were you aware of in terms of the scope of interest in cricket, in terms of, what kind of data did you have to go off of? If you say you didn't know much about cricket, or the guy, the boss just came to you and said, here, you're the guy in charge of cricket now. What did you have to go off of to get that quick education and make it less of a baptism by fire, so that you knew how big of a deal cricket was, and in terms of the data points, the viewing figures, the traffic that it could generate, and why it would be meaningful for ESPN to break into it from a television market standpoint over and above what they had already possessed from the Cricinfo online market share?
Sure. Well, we're probably three things, and hopefully I remember all three so I don't forget. So if I only name two, be like, Todd, you said there was three. So one was, ESPN owns ESPN Cricinfo. So we had an opportunity to access all of their data on like how different individual boards, page views, home team page views, what would happen with World Championships, what would happen with IPL. So we had a pretty good idea of interest in the U.S., right? So not just, obviously we knew cricket is the second most popular sport in the world, behind only, football or soccer, depending on where you live, right? What do you want to call it? So we knew that. And, through Cricinfo, we were able to really pinpoint what the audiences in the U.S. would follow. So that was a great blueprint. The second was, I mentioned some of the acquisitions we had made on ESPN3, whether it's Asia Cup, the Stanford stuff, some of the other content that we had. And we saw that not only was there a passionate audience in terms of volume, but that it was a very sticky sport, and that people will turn on. Again, yes, matches are 8 hours long. So yes, very few people are watching for 8 consecutive hours. But you would see that, wow, maybe an ODI, the average time spent viewing might have been 3 hours. And you're like, wow, well, that's candidly percentage-wise better than an NFL game, right? An average NFL game, and I believe this is still true today, is the average fan watches about an hour, right? I mean, I'm individuals, you, me, other people may watch an entire NFL game, you may watch an entire soccer match, but the average only watches about a third. So that was one of the other data points of like, wow, not only there's a high volume of people to watch, but they stick around even more so than kind of some of the traditional, I'll say, stick and ball sports of the U.S. And there's a third one, and now I'm already forgetting. At the time, it was called ESPN Star Sports. So the India entity was co-owned by ESPN and Fox. So we had a good idea from them of kind of the viewership levels around some of the marquee events, because that's what they did, right? I mean, they own these properties, sometimes globally, and they would be able to provide some guidance on how well, whether it's the ICC or IPL or another cricket board, would perform, and would be able to take that data and say, okay, well, let's again, ESPN is a very data-driven company. ESPN has some of the best researchers probably on the planet, and took the data and would extrapolate back and say, all right, so when you are looking for acquisitions, don't get this board, get this board, and here's why. And they would provide some of the background on that. So again, I had somewhat of a baptism by fire, learned a lot about the rules of the game, the players in the game, and obviously the business behind it. But like anything, right, it's a whole team effort. There's no, one person who's just, making the decisions. You have a lot of background with the research and support from the other areas I mentioned, especially ESPN Cricinfo.